You will give your father's inheritance to my mother as a gift.
When I explained to my husband Aaron that my father had passed away, he said that
You are being taken care of by my mother, right? Who do you think taught you how to do household chores? Don't you have any gratitude? If you oppose this, we'll get divorced.
I had reached my limit. I had never been taught how to do household chores. I was just being exploited. Why did I have to be grateful for that? And I didn't want to live with this man who was just using me and didn't love me. Okay. Let's break up. I said that and left his parents' house. I am Gianna, 28 years old. My father ran a company and I grew up in a wealthy family. I had a comfortable life, but I had one complex. It was that I had never dated a man until I became a college student. I went to girls' schools in middle and high school, so I had no contact with men. That's why I was struggling with the distance between me and men when I became a college student. That's when I met Aaron. He was my senior at my part-time job, and he always covered for me and encouraged me when I made mistakes. He was reliable and smart. I think I fell for him first. My friends pushed me and I confessed to him and he said yes, and I was so happy that I couldn't sleep that night. It was the first time I had a boyfriend, and I was overjoyed to have an older boyfriend. Aaron was really smart on dates and I had a lot of fun with him. 6 months after we started dating, Aaron got a job.
I got a job at N Corporation. So,
What? Really? That's my dad's company.
ha! Your dad? Really?
I hadn't told Aaron that my father was the president of the company. I wanted him to see me as myself, not as the president's daughter. He was shocked to find out that my father was the president of the company he worked for. A few days later, he suddenly proposed to me. I was so confused by the surprise that he gently handed me a bouquet of roses.
I'll make you happy forever.
It was like a dream. Of course, I said yes. I introduced him to my parents right away. They looked worried that I was still a student and getting married, but I somehow convinced them and forced the marriage. I'll definitely graduate from college and I won't cause any trouble for you, Dad and Mom. I said that and left the house. Aaron was from a single mother's family and he had no one but her. But when I met her, she was really kind and looked just like Aaron. He was gentle, but also manly and led me. I was sure that marrying Aaron would make me happy. That's what I thought at the time. After we got married, Aaron had no money because he had just started working. I was also working part-time, but it was hard to afford the rent and other expenses, so we started living with his parents. That was the beginning of the nightmare. The first morning of living together. I woke up to a sudden shake of my body.
Hey! What time do you think it is?
Huh? I looked at the clock and it was 5 a.m. I was planning to get up at 6 and prepare the breakfast, so I was shocked and jumped out of bed.
How long are you going to sleep?
Until 6.
What are you talking about? You're a wife, so you have to get up at 4 and clean the house.
4 o'clock?
Of course. What are you saying, you spoiled brat? You have to follow our rules since you came to our house.
I woke up to her yelling and got out of bed quickly. I had never gotten up so early before. My mom did the chores for me, but she didn't get up that early either. I thought other families were like that too. I was surprised that Aaron's family got up so early and hurried to the kitchen.
You're late today, so hurry up and prepare the meal. You have to make soup and at least 2 side dishes every day. You got that?
Oh, yes. I replied without understanding. And I managed to cook everything by 6:30, but from then on, I had to spend every day doing chores. When I came home from college, my mother-in-law was standing in the doorway.
Hey, you didn't clean at all today. What were you doing?
I'm sorry. I had a college assignment.
I don't care about that. You're a wife, so you should prioritize housework. You're so ignorant of the world.
Her words pierced my heart. I was trying my best. I got up at 4 every day and cleaned and did laundry all over the house, and prepared breakfast. I went to college, and after I got home, I went shopping and prepared dinner. I took in the laundry and washed the bath. I had no time for myself. All my college friends were having fun, but only me. I felt like giving up, and I talked to Aaron when he came home. I thought he would be on my side, but he said something I never expected.
What? Mom is strict because you can't do housework.
What?
You don't know how ordinary people live, do you? You're lucky. You've lived without doing any housework, right? I envy you.
He laughed mockingly and I lost my words. I had been doing housework since I got married. But he didn't appreciate any of my efforts. He didn't do anything himself, and he just drank until late every night. I got more and more dissatisfied. But I didn't want to go back to my parents' house easily, because I had married him against their wishes and left the house. I desperately balanced college and housework. I had no sleep, and I took naps between classes. My friends were worried about the dark circles under my eyes that were getting darker every day. I was at my limit mentally and physically when I was close to graduation. But I managed to graduate from college. I graduated from an art college, so I became a freelance illustrator after I got married. I had some spare time during the day, so I could rest, but I was still much more exhausted than before I got married. And as I got thinner, Aaron stopped coming home. Every day, he came home late at night with the smell of women's perfume. I was shocked at first, but somewhere in my heart I thought I knew it. I asked him to help me with the housework on his days off, but he said housework was women's work and wouldn't listen. We fought every time we saw each other. For several years, I had been living a leisurely and aimless life. Then one day, I received a phone call from my mother.
Your father has terminal cancer. The treatment options are limited, and he has only 3 months left.
No way! Desperate, I rushed to the hospital where I saw my father looking even more worn out than the last time I'd seen him. Since getting married, I hadn't visited home much, so I had no idea he was deteriorating like this. And then, true to the doctor's prognosis, my father passed away within those 3 months. I was grateful to have been there to say my final goodbye, but the sudden loss left me in tears. Back home, I explained everything to Aaron. My father passed away earlier. His funeral is this weekend.
I see. How much inheritance does your father have?
Huh? Suddenly, Aaron brought up the topic of inheritance, leaving me dumbfounded. He wore an expression as if discussing the weather.
Your father's inheritance. Your mother probably didn't earn much, and most of it belongs to the company, right? So, practically, you'll inherit most of your father's assets.
And?
The inheritance you receive, give it as a gift to my mother.
What are you saying? I raised my voice in shock, and Aaron frowned.
You've been dependent on my mother, haven't you? Who do you think taught you household chores? Don't you feel any gratitude? If you go against this, we'll get a divorce.
Divorce?
Exactly. Well, you're useless anyway. You thought you'd become the next CEO, but they've already chosen someone else. Apparently, a new CEO is coming from overseas.
Wait, did you marry me just to vie for the CEO position?
Of course. You're worth nothing else. You won't even take money from your parents without hesitation. Useless, that's what you are.
I'd had enough. I never received any help with household chores. I'd been nothing more than a servant. And now, I didn't want to live with this man who used me without any love for me. Understood. Let's part ways.
Huh?
I'll send the divorce papers through a lawyer, I declared.
Wait. Are you sure? You call yourself an illustrator or whatever, but you don't earn much. Aren't you embarrassed to return to your parents' home with so little?
I'd rather face their anger and ridicule than continue living in this house. Goodbye. Leaving a stunned Aaron behind, I stormed out of the house. 1 month later, I got a phone call from Aaron.
Hey! What do you mean by this? What is compensation?
He yelled at me in a loud voice and I sighed. What do you mean? You were cheating on me, weren't you?
That's not true. There's no proof.
There is proof. I hired a detective agency to investigate your affair. You lied about going on business trips and going on vacations with your lover many times, didn't you?
That's...
Aaron's voice became small and he stuttered. I had asked the detective agency to investigate him when he started coming home with women's perfume on him. They found out that he was dating a specific woman frequently. And he had been with her since before we got married, so he was just using me. I decided to demand a high amount of compensation for his affair. There was evidence from the detective agency, such as photos, so he couldn't deny it. It's not wrong to ask for compensation when you were cheated on, right?
But I can't pay it now. Please, just forget about it.
I can't do that.
Don't say that. I really can't pay it now.
He said impatiently. He must be desperate. I knew why he was so desperate to say he couldn't pay. That's because you can't pay, right? You lost your job, didn't you?
How do you know that?
Because my brother fired you.
Your brother.
Yes, the new president is my brother. He graduated from a university overseas and worked for a Singapore company, but he came back to America when he found out about my father's illness. I heard Aaron gasp,
Then, please help me. I'm looking for a new job, but I can't find one. Please.
I was disgusted by Aaron, who only said what was convenient for him. Did he think I could change the personnel if I asked? I had nothing to do with the management, even if we were family. And even if he asked me, I wouldn't ask my brother to let him work again. That's because there was a reason why Aaron was fired. I can't be with a criminal.
You're calling me a criminal? How dare you?
You were fired for embezzlement, weren't you?
How do you know that?
Because I told my brother everything. I was suspicious of where you got the money to stay at nice hotels every time, based on the results of the investigation. I just said you should check the expenses. As soon as my brother came back to America, I told him about the divorce and Aaron. He felt something was off when he saw the results of the investigation. He suggested that I should check the expenses, and he immediately committed to look into it. The investigation revealed that Aaron had repeatedly claimed the travel, accommodation, and food expenses with his lover as company expenses. The total amount was over $10,000. And Aaron was fired from the company for embezzling company funds. Not only that, but he was also asked to repay the entire amount of the embezzled expenses. It must be hard to pay back over $10,000 and the compensation, now that he has lost his job and income. But that doesn't mean I'm going to let the compensation for the affair go.
Please, can't we get back together? I don't have a job or a life right now. My mother still has a few years until she gets her pension.
Are you trying to use me again?
I would never do such a thing.
I laughed at Aaron's words. Didn't you say it yourself? You married me because my father was the president, but if you can't become the next president, you don't need me. Well, too bad, but you're useless to me too, since you have no job or income.
Don't say that. Being an illustrator is hard work, right? It's better to live together.
I'm sorry, but my work is going well. I had a big request and I made about $4,000 last month. So I can live without you.
No way.
Besides, I'm living at my parents' house now, and the living expenses are much lower. There's no benefit to getting back with Aaron, and I don't want to either. If you're having such a hard time, why don't you ask your lover for help? As I said that, Aaron let out a cry of agony.
She left me as soon as I lost my job. She said she didn't need a guy with no money. She was a heartless woman.
I had nothing but contempt for Aaron, who screamed like a tragic heroine, even though he had said similar things to me.
You're the only one I have. Please. Come back to me. Mom is apologizing too.
I absolutely hate it.
Don't say that. I realized that you were the only one I loved.
But you seem to think of me as nothing but the president's daughter.
That's not true. I love you. So let's start over again.
I was no longer moved by Aaron's words. I had already lost interest in Aaron. I refuse. Goodbye. I said that and hung up the phone. I felt like he was screaming something, but I ignored it all. And I quickly blocked his number. I never wanted to have anything to do with Aaron and his mother again. After that, Aaron apparently couldn't pay back the embezzled expenses and the compensation and went into debt. He had no job, and he couldn't borrow money from a decent financial institution, so he borrowed money from a shady place and now he's in trouble with the interest. And because the embezzlement became known in the industry, his job hunting failed miserably. The other day, I saw him working part-time at a supermarket. He was living a hard life, paying back his debt and compensation, but it was none of my business. I could only be disgusted by his own actions. I think he should live with the guilt of his crimes from now on. And I gradually became famous as an illustrator, and I was grateful to receive a lot of work. While working on designs for goods and other things, I had a wonderful encounter and started dating a new guy. We live together and he's a kind man who helps me with the chores. I failed at marriage once, but I'm still in my 20s. I still have time, and I can start over. I used to do nothing but housework like a slave and had no time for myself. That's why I swore to myself that from now on, I would live while cherishing myself.
How did you like this story? Please also subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.